This chapter includes nudity, heavy alcohol use, and themes of vulgarity and sophomoric behavior. It is not suitable for children.
Hello there, this is Peter Adkison. I'm here with Steve Conard. We co-direct the Chaldea series, and we're here to chat it up about this chapter while we play it in the background. We will be talking over the audio of the film, so if you haven't watched Chapter 5 yet, we recommend you first watch the version without the commentary so that you can enjoy it without our yammering. All right, Steve, we're going to talk about Zane. Oh my gosh. Well, Steve, you really took the lion's share of the authoring and conceptualizing this character. Why don't you start this time and set up this chapter for our viewers?
Well, we started off with humans, and we did Marco, who's a halfling. So now we're introducing an elf character. In Chaldea, there are basically three different types of elf species. We've got wilder elves and ethark and high elves. Maybe you want to talk about what an ethark is first before we jump.
Yeah, sure. I was very influenced by Burning Wheel. I think they handle some of the different species really, really well, especially elves and dwarves and orcs. And so I took my inspiration from there. We have the wilder elves are sort of your really close to nature elves. They tend to be wilder and more primitive, and they're the more common sorts of elves that you might find running around in the forest shooting things. And the ethark are the more noble elves. They're typically, somebody's got to take care of these crazy wilder elves. That falls to the ethark. Although our ethark here is a bit wild and crazy. So the ethark elves are the noble class of elves. They're more military-minded, more rulership-minded. The high elves is a concept that's not from Burning Wheel. We retained that from classic Chaldea. The high elves are the elves very steeped in magic. And so Zane is in that ethark category.
Speaking of elves, we also, you'll see online or in our stories, we have Marn elves. Marn elves aren't actually a different type of species of elf. Those are elves that just happened to go to Marn and went native. It could be high elven or ethark or whatever. Yeah. So Zane is the mid-tier, and he's the son of a senator, an imperial senator. As elves goes, he's really quite young. I mean, he's really young. And he's
in more ways than
encouraged. What's that?
In more ways than one.
Yeah. He was encouraged to go off to university, where he stayed there for 24 years and took a bunch of classes, never graduated, majored in partying, that sort of thing. When this is what's going on when the emperor dies. He's at the University of D'Orsay, having a good time with his buddies. Because he's rich, he recently and by the way, the University of D'Orsay is a bard college. So there are a lot of bards there. And he took a lot of his father's money and built a family theater, put his name right on it. It's like, it's a good way for him to, do the bard thing and hang out with actors and actresses and party and that sort of thing. The interesting thing about the Zane is that he really, he doesn't do anything. He's not good with a sword. He's not a spellcaster. He's no D&D class. In fact, he's none of that. He just gets thrown in the deep end. At some point in our stories, somebody hands him a sword to duel.
He's got to be at least a first level bard by now, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, he tells stories really, really well and can sing. Yeah. I mean, he sings in this chapter. Yes, that's certainly true. I'm talking about he can't really take care of himself. Yoz can fight, and Sarva can clearly fight. Reiswitz is a legatus, and he can fight. Zane, no. Like I said, he at one point in a future chapter, he gets challenged to a duel, and somebody hands him a sword, and he just looks at it like it's radioactive and just throws it on the ground. I always find it interesting in fantasy stories that it doesn't take the heroes very long to figure out how to fight. Zane's going to be one of these characters that really doesn't figure it out for a long time, or maybe ever. We'll see. But yeah, so he's just a rich kid partying in college. That's where this begins.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like there's this sort of stereotype of D&D where the elves are hot and and beautiful, and maybe they kind of party a lot, sleep around a lot, have lots of loves and affairs and stuff. I think it's fair to say that we kind of dipped into that sort of stereotype a bit, wouldn't you?
Yes, definitely. Of course, being Ethark, he's immortal. Unless he gets killed by a sword or an arrow or something in the future. If all things go well, he'll live forever. So he's really not motivated to get through university fast. He could be there for 70 years, His father, who's a senator, he's off somewhere gallivanting around and doing governmental things. And he's the only child in the family, and he's in Dorsang going to university. It's kind of funny. You and I went off to boarding academy. It's kind of like that, fire and forget. Your kid's off there and they're having a good time. And occasionally they send money. Here you go.
Yeah. And 25 years later, in this case, you're like, hey, where did our son go? What's our son doing? Maybe we should check up on him. Yeah, especially when the world goes to shit. And the musical score for this chapter was written by Eric Nielsen, and I think he did a fantastic job on this one.
Yeah, it's amazing. Dorsang is our Ireland, if you will. So we've got the little Irish tunes going.
That's right.
Drink some Irish beer, gotta drink the beer.
And once again, we have our narration performed by Eric Ray Anderson in the role of Marco Hamilgar.
Guess at some point he actually interviews Zane, or otherwise, how did he know this story?
Lightning fast reporters. Or was it lightning fast?
No slackers here.
No slackers here. Also, the role of Zane Adrelistas is performed by Jesse Cheever, who did a fantastic job with this character.
Yes, Jesse, we absolutely loved your take. It's funny, we auditioned a lot of people to play the roles of elves, and they never came off exactly the way you and I. You remember that? We're like,
it's hard to cast an elf.
It really is.
Yeah, you want some sort of balance between elven, which can be more perhaps effeminate, but also strong characters. It's a challenge.
I remember when we told Jesse how great he did and how much we loved it. He goes, "Oh yeah, I remember going to private school and I just channeled all those rich bastards."
That's right.
The assistant director and assiduously adept.
I want to give a shout out to Megan Campbell, who performs the role of Desiree Magmed, and also to Lowell Dio, who performs the role of Combo.
Aspiring starlets waiting in the wings for their turn to audition.
Is he actually drooling?
Leggy brunettes make him thirsty.
Thirsty? Dehydration's more like it. I swear, no trough is big enough for that elf.
Touché, my darling Ginge. Touché. Name?
Hi, I'm Terracella.
Remember, no improv. Just follow the script as I wrote it. That applies to you too, Mr. Adrelistos. Now, from the top.
That afternoon, with auditions complete, the three
and also pictured is the University of Dorsang. This is the Bardic College of Chaldea.
There were students attending the prestigious University of Dorsang. Nestled amongst hills and lakes, this sprawling campus offered a picturesque.
So what we're seeing here is the free city of Esh. As we've talked about in a couple other videos, talking about gods and whatnot, this is the one place in Chaldea where the freedom of religion is allowed. And if you look closely at the buildings, you'll see a lot of temples have sprung up in the last 40 years.
Astounding access and range. Why the disdain?
Harry
Zane?
Desiree slugged Zane in the arm.
What? I'm serious. With her, one is faced with the age-old question, suckle or floss.
She slugged him again.
Ow! Kindly cease from the love tap, Des.
This is a professional production, not your personal dating service.
The D word. Dating leads to marriage, and that is a big steaming pile of never gonna happen.
Focus, people. Zane, who's your top lady?
Tabitha. Serenity. Hard to decide.
Honestly, I could see either one in the role.
Role? I thought you meant who I'd like on top. You know, riding the destrier. Would they be most excellent in the play, too?
Unbelievable.
A few days later, Zane sat in his bed quietly writing in a journal, as Tabitha and Serenity slept soundly. He momentarily stopped scribbling when the page came alive with words, like a supernatural conversation written by invisible hand and quill. Zane heaved a heavy sigh of resignation and wrote,
So I will admit something here. I love magical books. I think magical books are great.
Yeah, Combo and Zane have the Chaldea version of texting.
Yes.
Without warning, the bedroom door swung wide, interrupting the enchanted correspondence. Christine, Zane's personal valet.
There's nothing that shows off wealth more than a college student who has a personal valet.
Dashed into the room, cleaning his
Just saying.
That's right.
Kind of wish I had one at college. That would have been nice. Go shopping for me, keep the room clean, rush the girls out.
Yes, and the role of Christine here is played by Matthew Posner.
Another thing that elves don't typically sleep. They don't have a need to sleep. I mean, they can if they want to. It's not like they can't, but they don't usually. So here's Zane in bed, not sleeping. It's like getting work done or chatting with his buddy.
Right.
But he has a bed for other reasons.
Yeah, right. Well, and sometimes it's just nice to relax.
I know what you're going to say. Master Zane, you've been wallowing in Dorsang for 24 years. 4 years in drama, 3 in philosophy, 2 in history and music. Your father fears it's all for naught. Me, believe it or not, I've learned things. You, like your 5-year sabbatical at Elf Camp? And what, in Yadisil's name, is Elf Camp? Me, it is a bohemian paradise. You, more like a hallucinogenic sexcapade.
Are you quite finished with your histrionics, Master Thespian? From your parents.
Christine handed Zane an ornate box, and in it, a magnificent jeweled necklace.
Impressive rock.
A starfall jewel is not a rock. It's a remnant of an Anumian constellation. Once in a great while, they fall from the sky and make...
we talk about Anumians a fair amount. They're the constellations in the sky that are more than just constellation of stars. They're actually spirits. Occasionally, pieces will fall off and plummet to Chaldea. And if you're lucky enough to find a piece, they can be made into, rare gems and jewels and things of that nature, which is what it describes here. But getting one of those it's extremely valuable.
And they make very powerful enchantments.
Therefore, your mother and
From the Age of Magic.
Yes, from the Age of Magic. Also, by the way, we will soon have a deeper delve episode where we go deeper into the lore of the Anumians and who are these spirits that inhabit the night sky.
In the first part of season 1, we don't actually introduce Ariadne. But eventually we'll introduce Ariadne. She is also like Cordava. She is a demigoddess, extremely powerful. That's why Zane immediately reacts to the name. He doesn't ask like, Who am I getting married off to? No, he knows exactly who this person is.
Zane
Yeah.
struggled mightily.
Yes, Ariadne will appear in our story several times. She'll appear later in the Zane story and also in season 2 in the Sybil story. And yeah, we will see more of her. And shout out to Hope Shanti, who plays the role of Ariadne.
Marriage without first asking me. This must be a message.
A message? What kind of message?
Did my father mention anything else?
Other than sending a priceless Anumian gem.
Zane, you there?
Zane followed Combo's frantic voice to his private balcony.
Combo? You hate exercise.
The Emperor! He's dead!
The Emperor is
Yet
dead.
again, we're here, ground zero,
be a hoax.
with the news coming out that the Emperor died. Our stories are always about how people react to the world around them when they get the news. So here's Zane getting it from his buddy, who hates exercise.
You hear that, Kristen?
Yeah, and I think the other fun part of this particular story is that not everybody reacts with like, "Oh my God, it's the end of the world," you know. Some people would be partying their ass off.
Yeah, let's see if that happens.
Truly dead. A power vacuum of chaos and war will ensue. Evil, darkness, and much pain will fall upon Chaldea.
Wow. Who's histrionic now?
Christine had an annoying flair for the melodramatic.
We live in the free city of Esh, Kristen. Free from political fallout. Free from religious persecution. Free from everything. It'll be fine.
Master Zane, nothing will be fine for a very, very long time.
How's this? I'll take a short holiday, go see the parents. That make you happy?
Oh, very good, sir. But why the change of heart?
If this is a message, I'll see what they want. If not, I'll convince them to cancel this idiotic engagement. And should that not work, I'll find a loophole.
A loophole to remove yourself of responsibility.
Loopholes are like silver linings. Always be on the lookout for both.
An hour later, Zane and Combo gathered with hundreds of fellow students, all huddled anxiously around a bulletin board, necks craning to read the official notice of Emperor Kodava's death.
Wow, wow, and wow.
Who killed him?
Desiree brushed by Zane to see the news for herself.
You look lovely. Thank you.
Someone just died, Zane.
My charms.
Bullshit.
Charms will win you over yet.
Desiree was smitten with Zane. She knew it, and he knew it. And worse yet, she knew that he knew it. She'd escalated the hard-to-get flirting game to Mount Olympus heights.
Kodava's a god, right? Doesn't that make him immortal?
No idea. I didn't take Rules of Godship 101.
By the way, we have a Rules of Godship 101 Deeper Delve video on our YouTube channel. Check it
He's
out.
dead.
Yeah, check it out.
Find out exactly what those rules are.
You might need to know them.
Yeah, based on this book called The Primal Order. You can get it on Drive-Thru-RPG.
This is serious.
Just saying.
Cordova
So something we've covered in other videos, but we'll mention it here, is that the worship of Set is the only legal religion throughout most of Chaldea. Cordova was a demigod of Set, and when he ascended to divinity and was coronated as emperor, he outlawed all other religions. The big exception being the city of Esh in the kingdom of Dorsang, which was rebranded, if you will, as the Free City of Esh to emphasize that it is free for religious worship of all religions. And so in the backdrop of this city, we have all this, there's an undercurrent of religious rivalry. You can imagine if the religious organizations were all forced to consolidate into one city, there would be quite a bit of tension in the city, as we will see.
Yes, pub crawl, university pub crawl. We've all done it. You know, you've been there.
Friends, as well as a rambunctious horde.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of fun to just put a pub crawl on a fantasy story. We definitely had fun with this one.
The tyrant demigod
It's all just fighting and hack and slash. You got to go ahead and drink some booze.
normally
Of course, you're in Ireland, you're going to have some really good booze.
Solitude.
Well, I should say Dorseng. Sorry, in Dorseng.
Yeah.
Tonight,
They'll forgive us for that.
chance to experience history rather than merely read about history stood before her. Why not take it?
I've never done a pub crawl.
The first drinking hole of the day, a Dorian public house.
Bent Dick? What?
Once inside, Zane eagerly slammed Elven Platinum on the bar.
In Chaldea, the elves are the only people that deal in platinum. So if you see a platinum coin, it's elven made. Maybe somebody else might have it in their pocket, but it comes from the elves.
That's right. The platinum pieces from D&D, we call them platinum coins, are the purview. That's what the elves use for coinage.
Samurai armor indicated that he was obviously not local. Before he could notch a conclusion, Combo dragged his friends out the door.
What's next?
Bitter bitch.
Oversexed elf?
No, bitter bitch.
Huh?
The pub crawl was officially afoot. The next stop on the drinking tour.
Oh, bitter bitch. Okay.
So here's going to be a real shock to anybody who knows me. I like Scotch.
Delivered around whiskey shots.
So do
I like it a lot.
Me too.
Demons kill the emperor.
We both like Scotch.
Yes, we do.
We've had Scotch tasting parties where we're like hog trading different bottles and whatnot. And have,
And how did
wow,
you arrive at
yeah.
the old
Yeah,
chestnut?
there's some stories we probably should gloss over.
And how did your dad?
So if you look closely here, we created some unique
Let me rephrase.
Scotch brands for Chaldea, of course. Who knows? Maybe someday it'd be great if we could actually. I know if you've seen some of the Game of Thrones Scotch, branded Scotch that you can buy out in the world for each of the 7 houses. It's kind of cool. It'd be cool to have a. I mean, we would just make it if we had like Chaldean Scotch. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd die happy.
Well, it's good to aspire to long-term licensing opportunities for the Chaldea brand, right? We've done the hard work. We started creating the names and everything.
It's all right there. Got logos and the whole bit.
Yeah, just add Scotch. We're good.
Setite soldiers marched solemnly, somehow maintaining an even strain while observing the revelry.
You know what they say? The big
And some of these fun lines by the drunk students out there heckling the Setites are performed by Jesse Keeter and Stinson Sneed and Conard Kinzer. And here, I think it makes a lot of sense that to have a story where there's a lot of joyful reaction to the news of the Emperor's death, that it would be in Esh, where there is a high content of religious people who were forced to either renounce their faith or move to Esh. And so, yeah, this is one place in Chaldea where there's definitely a lot of cheer over the Emperor's demise.
Oh, that's exactly right. And also because the University of Dorseng, there's international students come here, and even if they didn't have religion on the brain, being there for any number of years, studying, you would inevitably sort of pick up, the politics of the city.
Every pub in Esh. Our merrymakers tossed coins at the tittywampus dancers, danced and sang rounds at the understudy, pounded vodka at the rebellion, played Zombies' Demise at Ye Old Fable, emptied a keg of Dwarven Rock Ale at Dwarves' Folly, and faced the devil amongst the tailors in the Salty Dive. Zane observed that for someone who supposedly had never participated in a pub crawl before, Desiree showed a remarkable aptitude. But not everyone was in a playful mood for drinking. For every pub the triumvirate entered, the stern, armor-clad Muramaki man followed.
Muramaki is obviously our nod to feudal Japanese history. The Muramaki period in Japan was sort of what we would think is sort of the cliche high point of samurai culture in medieval Japan. And we were eager to incorporate that into Chaldea.
Love them samurai.
Love samurai.
with the unusual activity of arriving vessels, most of which were ships of war. Less drunk, the trio might have noticed and pondered the surging naval buildup. Combo was equally distracted, but decidedly for a different reason. A veteran of many a pub crawl, he knew, as all previous students before him did, that
The Anumian spirit called drunk haunts the skies directly above the most renowned pub house in Esh. I'd even say maybe in the world. You can imagine how awesome it would be to have the drunk constellation right above your bar. I find it funny. It's called the remedial scholar, which is sort of people like talk about how they go to remedial classes at the University of Dorzang. Going to remedial classes really means that they're going to the remedial scholar. Sort of pigeon for that.
Fine. Really?
The old scholar buzzed with heightened kinetic rhapsody as swift-footed servers struggled to keep up.
Water and bread, please.
Excellent.
Have a seat. Or lie. Perfectly fine. The religious factions are out tonight.
On an ordinary night, any number of religions could walk the streets of Esh. Yet on this particular evening, so soon after Cordava's death, tensions filled the air, imparting an edge to the presence of the various Ma'at factions. Soon, the server returned.
It's water. You're dehydrated. What's so funny?
At the audition, I diagnosed you with dehydration. Drooling over all those actresses. No trough is too big for that elf, I said. But look at me now. Irony be a fickle friend.
I'm not always such a shallow hound. I have deep moments too, you know. My rakish behavior could be an act of rebellion against my parents. I learned that one in psychology. Parents, always questioning your choices, deciding your future. Who needs that?
Poor you. Having parents who actually care. Count your blessings you have them both.
I'm an insensitive ass. Sorry.
Just don't take your parents for granted. No one should.
Well, Miss Love Tap, I also learned that when a girl hits a boy, it means she likes him.
What? I hit you because you're annoying.
If I'm so annoying, as you say, why do you put up with me?
I'll be the first to admit it. I'm an enigma. Wrapped in a conundrum tied to a question mark.
A beautiful ginger-topped enigma, wrapped in a conundrum tied to a question mark.
Zane leaned close, lured by true love's first kiss, and she eagerly accepted, longing to know the soft texture of his lips, the sweet smell of his breath. The necklace lit up like an agitated chaperone, extinguishing the lover's blossoming passion.
It's like something up and died in my mouth.
The promise chain is awesome. I mean, it just tortures him if he gets anywhere near a girl, which I find just awesome. The thing is, could you imagine the enchantment? Like how painful that might be? It's not like just forcing somebody to eat Tabasco sauce or something. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of horribleness that you can't begin to describe.
Are you engaged?
Well, and it fits Ariadne so
We
well.
took ancient history and astrology together. Remember?
Yeah, it does.
Desiree
She would giggle.
examined the Adrelastos
Later on, she does giggle, actually.
quietly crestfallen for
Yeah.
what it seemed.
She's a bit mischievous.
Okay, so exactly how do I get this cursed thing off?
She lifted, yanked, pulled from behind.
Good!
Stop! You're goddamn hurting me! And not the good kind of goddamn hurting me either!
The chain, magically enchanted. Strongly magically enchanted.
Obviously, Ariadne's got you on a very short leash. Well, congratulations. You'll be pure and chaste for Crystal. Good luck.
Hold on. Does that mean I can
Actually, it's no Again, irony.
The remedial scholar seemed to enforce but a single rule. There is always room for one more. A hulking, thick.
Well, we should probably talk a little bit about FD here.
Yeah, we're going to keep this really simple. He's a high-level adventurer.
Very high-level adventurer. Very high-level barbarian. Yeah, this character is lifted pretty much as is from classic Chaldea back in the day. At one point when we started doing a lot of power gaming, PCs becoming gods and all that sort of stuff, I just wanted to create one super powerful, badass dude that was more powerful than any of the PC, just more powerful, more powerful in combat, that's where it matters, right? And so I decked this guy out. It was like no holds barred, everything I could think of to make this character as just as tough and formidable as possible.
Methinks you and I be fast friends.
When we wrote this story, I was like, okay, there's everybody in Ash is just partying to beat 60 because Cordova died. So, I mean, Fortress Defender is the biggest partier on the planet. It was like, I'm going to show up and party. So, like, Fortress Defender just goes, what the heck? I'm going to go down and Ash and just party hardy. What was fun was designing him. When I go into the concept illustrators, we don't even show everything here, but we designed and illustrated every damn item he owns and what it does and everything. You get a few on there. I mean, one of the things you see on his back is a Cthulian blade. I mean, it's a blade made out of a Cthulian. I mean, he's going to hit you with a Cthulian, just one item.
Oh, right.
Cheers.
Look close. There's other craziness on his body.
And the likeness rights for Fortress Defender are from Troy Maynard, who posed for us and gave us turnaround so that we could illustrate this character in his likeness.
Thank you, Troy. I'll tell you what, when I saw your photo, I'm like, yeah, that's Fortress Defender.
That's FD for sure.
You were born to play him.
And the voiceover for Fortress Defender and the other Fortress Defender are performed by Nick Donner.
Free drinking privileges applies just to you, FD. Just the rules.
I says who gets drinks, and I say my friends drink.
All right. No rule says I can't bend the rules.
Trouble was brewing. Zane sensed the mood in the room turning sour as he once again caught a glimpse of the armored Muramaki loitering nearby.
See that fellow? The samurai. I think he's stalking us.
Why would a samurai be?
A diminutive priest of Set, Nimlot, and his counterpart, a much taller captain of the crew.
The role of Nimlot is performed by Marvin Grays, and the role of Mentu is performed by Jason Albreton.
What I really like about this particular scene is, so we've got an Ethark elf in this scene, we've got a Norse barbarian, we've got a Muramaki samurai, and we've got a priest of Set. Did I miss anybody? That's what I like about Chaldea. Oh, and we got Desiree, who's Doris saying she's Irish. So I really like how in Chaldea we have all these. It's a melting pot of all these different cultures.
What's going on, brother?
This new arrival was identical in every respect to FD. From the boyish sparkle in his eye to the Cthulian blade on his back.
Religious pricks, acting like they have the biggest peckers is all. That shit! Olivesh knows my is the biggest. Hold on, brother. You mean our
The barbarian twins erupted in bombastic chortles, as if there was more to the joke that only they understood.
Excuse me, gotta drain the sea dragon.
And just like that, FD was gone. To the consternation of Desiree, Tabitha and Serenity took the opportunity to sidle up next to Zane.
Maybe it's time we leave.
Hi, Zane.
Hello, ladies.
What's wrong with Zane?
Oh, you'll see.
First Serenity, then Tabitha locked lips with Zane.
Oh, nasty! Don't do that.
To think I let you in my hair while swinging
The voiceover for Tabitha and Serenity is performed by Nicole Merritt and Alyssa Caterbrigga.
I mean, could you just imagine this in real life? these really cute co-eds come up and they kiss you in the bar, and you just go, ah, no.
And I swear, my
I'm sorry. I find it really comical.
Use a charm down here, all of that.
Ariadne. No better to throw it at a playboy like him.
Scholar and Zane's current woes in the streets of Ash. Civil unrest reared its ugly fangs. Angry Isis worshippers faced off against parishioners of Set. Tempers soon flared, which begat punches, weaponry, bloodshed, and ultra-violence.
Dear me.
Desperate to avoid the fray, Christine sidestepped down a back alley and into more trouble.
What we have here is the daughter of Set, who is a servitor, and if you go to the Primal Order, you'll learn that. And where can you get it, Peter?
Yeah, drive through RPG.net.
Yes. She's a servitor, a creation. Probably started off human and was imbued with primal energy, and now she's a priest. And the actual minion of Set here is also a servitor, which are basically tanks for the Church of Set. And probably minions of Set wouldn't be on Chaldea, except right now in the Mayan Pantheon, there's a bit of a civil war brewing. So some heavy military assets have been moved to Dorsang.
That's right. And the roles of the minion of Set and the daughter of Set are performed by Gary Taylor and Karen Tucker.
Wait, you two?
No! Crystal's the fiance.
Oh, shit. A crazy god's daughter.
And Combo knew exactly who it was.
Yeah. Yeah, Ariadne and her family are kind of like tabloid fodder almost in Chaldea. I mean, you know, when the news is not overwhelmed by the death of Cordava back during peaceful times, I imagine Ariadne and various of her children were making the news on a regular basis.
Definitely socialites in Saratov.
Taking the three unwilling stragglers with them.
Take my hand.
I've got you.
Outside, the smallest Setite with the loudest voice, Nimlot, was spreading his religious bigotry with ardent zeal.
The free city of Esh is freed no more. Now suffer your fate as all those who dare defy Set.
Theo, a soldier.
The role of Theo is performed by Casey Ryan.
Set's hold is over. The only reason anyone paid the serpent any mind at all is because the Emperor shoved that religion down our throats like a poison.
Piss off, knothead.
Bad night to be a Setite, Mento.
As if you'll see the day.
Mentu and Theo charged, fists flying. A larger company of Set soldiers approached, hell-bent on joining the conflict. Victims littered the streets behind them.
Kneel to the one true God.
Across the thoroughfare, Mentu and Theo continued their bloody fisticuffs.
You're done, ISIS scum.
Mentu yanked the blood-red ISIS symbol from Theo's throat. An act of sacrilege. An explosion of sun.
We talked before about how artifacts have curses. But in this particular case, it's just cursed versus the enemy of the church if it ever touches. Because that's an artifact pendant there.
His chest with a sickening thud. Servitors of Set converged. The street riot now escalated into a full-fledged battle.
Kill the infidels!
The free city of Ash erupted into total chaos. The violence rippled across the city's boroughs.
Zane, help!
An inebriated Combo became easy prey.
Shit.
Nimlot squirmed through the throng, sacrificial dagger in hand.
Join Set or die!
That's not your slogan, is it? Join Set or die? Because if it is, you could do better.
This isn't a joke, elf.
Oh, gods! I'm gonna...
All at once, Combo erupted. Nearby, FD was preoccupied with a particularly fetching bar matron, oblivious to the goings-on.
Thank you, dearie. I'll remember your tender embrace always.
Nimlot, covered in Combo's stew, furiously waved his serpent dagger.
You're so dead, Shorty.
What do we have here?
FD shifted his attention squarely to the diminutive priest.
A little trouser snake.
He tossed Nimlot soundly, and with lots of sounds, into a brick wall.
This party keeps getting more and more savage, eh, Zane? And Little Red?
For you, maybe.
FD took notice of Combo's inebriated state.
Oh, enough for him.
Concerned, he searched through his goodies and handed a microvial to Zane.
You know, Fortress Defender has a lot of good goodies in his bag of tricks. Potions. I wouldn't mind drinking one of his potions that cured drunkenness immediately, and who knows what other side effects it might have.
Conflict far from over. FD confronted Setite soldiers by the bushel.
I don't like me drinking time interrupted. And I definitely don't like me f***ing time interrupted.
Zane, behind you!
A Setite surged, sword first, toward Zane's back. Zane turned. Too late. Too late for the Setite, that is. His head sheared away, rolling past Zane's feet. His savior stepped forward.
You.
Belnar.
And the role of Belnar is performed by Joel Amber.
A sheep is waiting. Let's go. Now.
The Church of Set called upon more insidious powers than just soldiers and religious fanatics. A servitor of Set blocked their escape route, its divine Kopesh poised.
Shit.
Belnar pushed Zane clear, katana at the ready, and inched closer to his adversary. Before the two combatants could so much as flinch, FD leapt, clutching the servitor by the neck.
Oh, what is this?
Belnar is a samurai. He's going toe-to-toe with this servitor.
FD spot.
But Fortress Defender just comes in and just goes. he just cleans their clock just like so, just like it's nothing. And then you get here and like here's Belnar like struggling against this. I mean, he's holding his own, but it's interesting seeing the comparison.
FD's twin tossed the floundering servitor back down into the street below.
Be off, Master Elf. I get it from here.
You know, I believe you do.
If the gods be good, we'll see each other again.
After his new friends departed, FD dealt with the matter of the servitor at hand.
Well, if you're not a fly, maybe you're a worm. Let's see how far you can dig, worm!
FD nonchalantly stomped on the servitor's head, crushing it into gooey oblivion. The harbor docks soon after. Belnar quickly led the three friends to the harbor and an awaiting ship.
The Shoryu Maru is your only safe passage now.
The Shoryu Maru, a vessel of Muramaki design, was frenetic with samurai and sailors. Matsunori Chosokabe, the ship's
The role of Matsunori Chosokabe is played by Heidekin Ha.
Do not fear, Zane, son. We're commissioned by Adaya, your mother. I have a letter on hand as proof.
Oda, a samurai, swung down to Zane, bowed, and offered the letter to him. Zane recognized his mother's handwriting immediately.
And so you were.
Explosions in the distance echoed across the harbor like an approaching storm.
Get on board.
And to think I was worried celebrating would lead to trouble.
You, such a worrywart.
Zane gave Desiree a good-natured sock in the arm. If only he didn't have the cursed starfall necklace, he would have kissed her instead.
Tonight, my friends, was sheer insanity and inspiration. I say we write a play full of bombast, action, and intrigue in remembrance. Yes, call it Combo in the Park.
Genius. Silver lining. Combo silver.
Serpentine dark shadow magically materialized behind Combo. Nimlot revealed himself, holding the serpent dagger covered in Combo's blood.
Combo!
See? You are so dead.
Before Zane or Desiree could retaliate, Nimlot shoved their wounded friend into them and fled.
You f***er.
Zane gave chase. Elves are well known to be both dexterous and fleet of foot. Ethox even more so. Zane had never lost a race in his life, and he wasn't going to lose one now. A primal fury overwhelmed him when he caught up to the priest. Hate, rage, revenge. The priest of Set would suffer, first with pain, lots of pain, then with his life. Not even his cult god could save him now. Nimlot's single dedication to the Serpent Sect delivered him away from the justice he deserved. His pint-sized body transformed into a larger-than-life asp, slithering away into the harbor waters.
What kind of sorcery?
There was no time to ponder the whos and whys of divine spellcraft. 2 more servitors of Set stomped toward them, flanked by a mob of Setites.
Southern Vipers, get to the ship, hurry!
Belnar half-dragged, half-carried Zane back to the ship.
Take up a rope!
But my friends...
First help you, then help Tomodachi.
Desiree crouched over her dying friend. So much blood. She felt helpless as Combo's life slowly ebbed away. There was absolutely nothing she could do.
It seems this Targonian's play has run out of acts.
Run out of acts? Hooey, we still have the right combo in the park. It's going to be epic, you said so yourself.
Combo fumbled for something in his inside pocket.
Here.
He pressed an old leather-bound journal into her hand.
Keep this safe. You and Zane can...
Combo?
Can...
And just like that, the curtain closed with Combo's last breath.
The harbor is closed.
With nary a moment to mourn, Desiree looked up to find 2 Setites blocking her entrance to the Shoryumaru. Samurai released a volley of arrows, killing soldiers.
We've had, samurai have played prominently in Chaldea for a long time. And when we were going to bring samurai here, Peter made the comment, by the way, bows are sort of more important than swords or katanas. You want to make a comment on that?
Yeah, well, we did. I'm not going to go so far as to say that we are experts in history. We certainly veer off of truth sometimes in terms of real world history, but we did do some research. Ron Edwards helped us do some research about picking very specific periods of time in various cultures. And in the height of Japanese medieval culture in the Muromachi period, it was actually the bow that reigned supreme, and the study of the bow and the spirituality and the shooting of the bow was supremely important in samurai culture. And so we decided to emphasize that more than the swordplay.
The regrettable orders quickly filtered across the ship's deck to the captain, and the Shoryumaru pushed away, carried rapidly downstream with the current. Elnar slowly rose to his feet, his every fiber primed for battle. If this servitor of Set wanted to fight, a fight he would deliver. Desiree still hung precariously, flapping about wildly on the side of the ship. Arrows dangerously zipped and zinged around her.
Desiree!
Zane! I can't hold on much longer!
The Shoryumaru continued to take fire from the land, an unending volley from the night sky. Arrows pierced through canvas and ropes, causing wood to splinter. It was all too much for Desiree. She had to do something. So she let go of the rope and, yes, chanced upon the edge of a porthole. Chosokabe brought the ship about in choppy waters. Catapults to bear.
Fire! Help! I need help!
Resin-fueled stones of heat and flame took to the heavens with a crackle, pockmarking the wharf in a successive series of fireballs. Amidst the chaos of flame and arrow, a katana and khopesh danced, steel and obsidian weaving a spell of arcs, lunges, slashes, and parries, a whirlwind of speed and technique. two worlds apart and yet together. Samurai versus servitor of a serpent god. In the smoky haze, the two combatants mirrored the conflict playing out all over the free city of Esh. A city in turmoil, in ruin. This is freedom. On the Shoryu Maru, Kagi, the sailing master,
The role of Kagi is performed by Richmond Law.
Performing his duty.
With every war come vignettes of heroism and self-sacrifice. Moments when relationships are forged, tested in the fire of conflict. And here was Zane, lowering a rope to Desiree.
I can't!
You can!
A fireball screeched overhead.
Okay, Sarah, look.
A Ma'at galley, deck brimming with Setite soldiers cut across their bow on a converging tack.
Ready the weapons. Let's go!
A few more seconds and Zane would have Desiree pulled to safety.
Got it!
I promise to protect you, and protect you I shall.
Fire!
The amped-up crew, eager to meet the enemy, launched catapults and fired deck-mounted scorpions. The Ma'at galley returned volley. Fireballs crisscrossed the harbor, whistling through the ether like demented demons. The Shoryu Maru shuddered from repeated impacts. Amidst all the tumult, Desiree tenaciously clung for dear life. However, her grip faltered with each passing second.
Zane!
Desiree! No!
Suddenly, she was gone, somewhere into the turbulent, dark waters below. Ma'at galleys continued to buzz around the harbor. Chosokabi studied their movements, understanding their desire to block the harbor exit. Zane, however, could not wholly appreciate their predicament. He could only think of one person.
You can't leave Desiree behind. I made a promise.
So did I.
The crew held their collective breath as the Shoryu Maru cut between two galleys.
Hold on!
Into the open sea.
Yatta yatta! We're saved!
And to freedom.
The voices for some of the samurai crew members are performed by Erica Walker and John Ray and Brian S. Lewis.
Or had she already drowned? What if instead she were captured by the Setites? Gods.
Turn this ship around!
Two of Chosokabi's chief lieutenants, Sute and Hojo, pulled Zane off their lord.
How can I help you, Tomodachi, now? Pray that she's a good swimmer.
Zane couldn't give up. He refused. He ran to a longboat, determined to save Desiree. Sute and Hojo grabbed him and smacked some sense into him.
This chapter's titled Civics 101. It's intended to be the insight to Zane's mind of learning about Chaldean civics. And at 101 being he's just learning. In the future chapter coming up in season 1.2, we'll get introduced to Astrology 101, where Zane on this Shoryu Maru and the samurai learn more about the Numians.
Yeah, there's a lot of Numians in that chapter. That'll be a lot of fun.
They feature heavily.
Well, this ends our director's commentary for chapter 5. I hope you enjoyed our commentary.
Who are you? My name is Estrada. What is happening? We should not have touched you. You are in incredible danger.
Now, what are those idiots doing?
We are going to a party.